After the successful in-depth discussion on the PUV modernization program of the government during the first SPMJ forum, this time the Society of Philippine Motoring Journalists, together with relevant officials from the transportation sectors, as well as representatives from motorcycle unit manufacturers, sat down for an important talk about the various issues that motorcycle riders are having on the road and how the government is responding to it. In this week's Motoring Forum, we start by hearing the side of the motorcycle riders.
We tackle first the issues and problems that are being faced by motorcycle riders on a daily basis, which were presented during the second SPMJ forum held at the Sede Vertis North Hotel. The issues raised by motorcycle riders representative Mr. Jobert Bolanos of Riders of the Philippines and Motorcycle Rights Organization were mostly about rules, policies, and ordinances imposed that they find as anti-rider. Mr. Bolanos started his presentation by citing their issue on the regulation of helmet use. According to the representative, wearing a helmet has been proven to be the best way to remain safe while on the road, and that's why motorcycle riders have always complied with the Republic Act number 10054, which requires them to wear helmets.
What it gives us is a law that requires all motorcycle riders to wear a helmet. So this protects the helmet user or the motorcycle rider from a fatal accident. Kasi most fatal accidents are because of head injury. So the helmet has been proven, tried and tested over the years, not only in this country but in other countries as well. So this is a worldwide mandate to create a law to safeguard yung ulo ng mga riders.
However, Mr. Bolanos said that the issue comes with their observation and experiences that motorcycle riders are being told by traffic officials to remove their helmets while on the road, which is the opposite of what the law requires. According to him, this creates confusion among riders.
However, in the past years, since the promulgation of this law, what we experience is there are legislation from the local barangay ordinance to the city ordinance to the municipal ordinance to the provincial ordinance asking riders to remove their helmets in operation. So it contradicts national law. And that is where we face some problems.
Mr. Bolanos recalled the event in Vigan City, where its local government released an ordinance prohibiting riders to wear helmets for identity and crime prevention purposes. It was called out by the Department of Interior and Local Government, Mr. Catalino Cuy, with a memo citing that it's against the helmet law. However, it continued despite the memo by the DILG.
In a memo written by OIC Catalino Cuy, he reminded all the local government that we have a national law in place. But in spite his memo, we still see continuous ordinances being pushed that deprives the rider to protect his head. So, continuous pa ho. So, nagkakaroon ho ng banggaan from the national law and the local ordinances.
Still in the topic of laws, Mr. Bolanos continued his presentation by citing the different misinterpretation of laws. One of the major issues is the use of auxiliary lights in motorcycles. According to Mr. Bolanos, the use of LED light has become an issue, which led the Land Transportation Office to release a guideline on the proper use of these lights on motorcycles.
The laws it pertains to right now is kapag nasa kalsada po kasi kami, medyo besides dun sa ORCR lisensya na chinecheck, we are also being checked with the components of the motorcycle. We don't contest that program because everybody has a responsibility to abide by the laws. And since LTO created a memo for the use of auxiliary lights, we follow that as much as we can, and we teach others to follow it also.
However, Mr. Bolanos stressed that in the recent months, there has been an operational mandate wherein all auxiliary lights are being confiscated, which caused them several problems.
There has been a number of apprehensions wherein lights, blinkers have been confiscated. We understand that PD 96 pertains to the use of emergency lights and sirens. However, auxiliary lights, not all of them fall under this mandate. Meron ho tayong simple lights lang on and off which aid motorcycle user kapag napupunta siya sa madidilim na lugar. However, medyo napapatungan po yung iba on the road. Napapatungan sila ng violation ka ng PD 96, bawal ang LED. But PD 96 does not cover LED. It doesn't cover auxiliary lights.
According to Mr. Bolanos, the confiscation has been continuing, so they had to raise the problem to the National Police Commission. Another issue raised by the representative is about the regulation on passengers.
By law, carrying one passenger aside from the rider is not illegal. So every motorcycle can have two people riding at one given time. The rider and his passenger. Given na may upuan and may footpeg siya.
As Mr. Bolanos said, this was contradicted when the city released an ordinance about motorcycle passengers.
One, for example, is Taal, who put out a riding in tandem law. But Taal, thank God, pinayagan kami to argue the said law. And right now, this is not anymore in effect. What they do is, instead of apprehending people with backriders, what they do is, if you have a backride, you're subject to verification.
In connection to this, Mr. Bolanos said that the anti-bike rider ordinance is being implemented in Mandaluyong City.
In Mandaluyong City, they started that ordinance. Actually, ito yung first, and we are still fighting this. In Mandaluyong, they criminalize people with passengers, male passengers. Ang pinapayagan lang dito is if the passenger is your son or your father, but if the passenger is your uncle, your lolo, your cousin, you are now considered in violation of that ordinance.
Mr. Bolanos said that as per the ordinance, the rider as well as the passenger is being ticketed with a fine of 1,000 pesos each. The representative stated that this is an issue for them because aside from the tickets and fines given to violators, motorcycle riders are being treated as criminals in Mandaluyong.
In Mandaluyong City, we are profiled as criminals. We are immediately scorned as a threat to society. Even if national law allows us to carry a passenger in Mandaluyong, we are criminalized. Why do I say criminalized? If you disregard an apprehension in Mandaluyong, you are sent a subpoena and you are charged in court. And after you are charged in court, you are then ordered by court. The court puts out a warrant of arrest and puts you in jail. And then in jail, things happen na hindi naman natin gusto. But again, the purpose of the law is to stop criminality. But when we did our research in Mandaluyong City, in terms of riding in tandem, that was the old term, crimes, the numbers did not change. Actually, the numbers even increased.
Continuing, Mr. Bolanos also highlighted their problem with the memorandum circulars for public transport.
On MC for Public Transport, we address this because of TNVS, Congress Bills RA 4136, the Tricycle Regulatory Board, LTFRB, and then the purpose is for commuters and then regulating standards. The modern methods right now, through app-based ride-hailing, it's the same with motorcycles. The only difference with this and habal-habal, ang habal-habal walang training ang rider. Ang habal-habal walang insurance ang rider. Pero yung app-based companies like GrabBike, Angkas, they all have that. They have training, they have screening, they have reporting methods. For example, I get reported for dangerous riding by my passenger. My app will automatically disconnect me from the server. So, I'm already punished. Government does not have this kind of system. But these app-based companies have. So we're promoting this because ang kailangan natin tulungan dito, hindi naman yung motorcycle riders. We have to help the commuters kasi sila ho yung nagkikerry ng burden ng traffic sa Pilipinas.
According to Mr. Bolanos, while helping the commuters cope up with the worsening traffic in the metro, it should also focus on professionalizing motorcycle riders.
Problema ang disiplina sa kalsada. Hindi lang naman ng motorcycle riders. All types of vehicles, problema ang disiplina. But how do we control the discipline problem of motorcycles? We turn them into professionals. And through this regulation, they are now professionalized. They become more responsible and more disciplined. That's the after effect. So that's what we hope to gain from that.
In other news, also one of the riders' concerns is about the media. Mr. Bolanos stated that they are being discriminated by the media.
In some places, there are media who hates motorcycles in such a way that they will write articles that influence road rage against motorcycle riders.
Mr. Bolanos said that what they're hoping from the media is to promote responsible journalism and not to put motorcycle riders on a bad light. To cap off the presentation, Mr. Bolanos presented their suggestions to the government on how they can both solve and improve the situation.
Our suggestions, we focus on road safety initiatives that we do. Eliminate anti-modification by properly creating a regulation for all. And then, of course, for the help of criminality, community crime watch programs rather than, forcing laws onto us that sacrifice our safety and sacrifice our rights as motorists.
That was Mr. Jobert Bolanos of Riders of the Philippines and Motorcycle Rights Organization, representing the side of motorcycle riders during the recently concluded second SPMJ Forum. Next week, we will hear the government side, represented by the Land Transportation Office and the PNP Highway Patrol Group, including a representative from the Motorcycle Development Program Participants Association Incorporated.